Hello, and welcome to Pittsburgh City Council Standing Committee's meeting for Tuesday, November 10th, 2020. My name is Kim Clark Baskin, and I am the Assistant City Clerk. With us today, we have our sign language interpreter, Nick Miller. The following is a list of legislation up for preliminary approval by Pittsburgh City Council. Finance and Law Committee, Mr. Lavelle is the chair. We have new papers. We have bill number 859. Resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Farrell, Reisinger, and Comer, LLC, for professional legal services in connection with the police litigation matter for an amount not to exceed $20,030.40. Bill number 860, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Ira and Marianne Ritter in the amount of $95,000 relating to the full and final settlement of a case filed in the Allegheny County Court of Common Plea. Bill number 862, resolution transferring $3,000 from City Council to the City Clerk's office. Bill number 863, ordinance amending ordinance number 25 of 2020, effective July 31st, 2020, entitled Ordinance Supplementing the Pittsburgh Code of Ordinances, Title II, Fiscal, Article 5, Special Funds, to add a new chapter, Chapter 237, Stop the Violence Fund, to prioritize the prevention of violence and crime within communities and to create a budgetary obligation for the fund by changing language. Bill number 864, ordinance supplementing the Pittsburgh Code of Ordinances, Title I, Administrative, Article 3, Organization, Chapter 116, Department of Public Safety, by adding a new section, 116.15, Office of Community Services and Violence Prevention. Bill number 865, ordinance supplementing the Pittsburgh Code of Ordinances, Title I, Administrative, Article 3, Organization, Chapter 113, Office of the Mayor, by adding a new section, 113.06, Office of Community Health and Safety. Bill number 866, ordinance amending and supplementing the City Code, Title II, Fiscal, Article 1, Administration, Chapter 219, Operating Budget, Section 219.02, 5-year plan, in order to temporarily decrease the minimum fund balance requirements in response to the fiscal pressures imposed upon the city by the COVID virus. Public Works Committee, Mr. Coghill is the chair. We have bill number 854. Resolution amending Resolution 192 of 2020, authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Works to enter on behalf of the city of Pittsburgh into an amendment to the second amended full requirements service agreement with Direct Energy Business, LLC, for the continued supply of electricity to the city's buildings and facilities in connection with the city's aggregated purchase of electricity with other members of the Western Pennsylvania Energy Consortium. Bill number 855, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Works to enter on behalf of the city of Pittsburgh into an amendment or amendments to the purchasing agreement with Snyder Brothers, Inc. for the continued supply of natural gas to the city's buildings and facilities, and extending the term of current purchasing agreement for 2 years until December 2024, The city plans to soon develop a competitive solicitation for procurement of natural gas purchases in 2025 and beyond. Bill number 856. Resolution vacating a portion of Bench Way, formerly Stack Alley, laid out in the eastern addition of the new Homestead Plan of Lots, 31st Ward, 5th Council District. Bill number 857. Resolution granting unto 1700 Partners, LLC, their successors and assigns, the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense to install a new projecting sign at 1607 East Carson Street, 17th Ward, 3rd Council District. Bill number 858. Resolution granting unto Jonathan Resner, their successors and assigns, the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense a new projecting sign at 2777 East Carson Street, 16th Ward, 3rd Council District. Land Use and Economic Development Committee, Mr. Wilson is the chair. We have Bill number 861. Resolution providing for the issuance of warrants in favor of Michael Baker International, Inc., in the amount of $14,469 for rendering a noise monitoring, training, and report preparation in response to a complaint filed under 917.02 zoning ordinance and providing for the payment of the cost thereof. Intergovernmental Affairs Committee, Ms. Gross is the chair. We have a deferred paper. We have Bill number 634. Resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewage facilities plan for proposed land development located at 316 South Howland Avenue. Bill number 767. Resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewage facilities plan for the 5803 Center Avenue residential retail development. Bill number 793. Resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewage facilities plan for the 3173, 3719, and 3721 Butler Street. And Bill number 794. Resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewage facilities plan for the 2751st Street renovations project. That concludes the reading of the legislation up for preliminary approval. Thank you and have a great day.
Good morning and welcome to the Standing Committee meeting for Tuesday, November 10th, 2020. Council will continue to meet virtually until further notice. All meetings will be live streamed on the city's YouTube channel. Our first order of business is public comment. I would like to remind all speakers that the rules of council state that comments are limited to matters of concern, official action, or deliberation which are or may be before city council. Profanity will not be permitted. Once you are admitted in, please give us your name and neighborhood for the record. Our first speaker is Ikuhana Halmalkina.
Thank you. Greetings of peace, light, and love in Lakesh Alakit. My title is Ikahana Halmalkina, the Grand Inca of the Iroquois Confederacy of Aboriginal American People. It is our mission to inform and empower the autonomous Aboriginal Indigenous American people through various programs, acts, and deeds. that are meaningful to our people, while at the same time respectful to others. Whereas the quality of life being essential to Aboriginal Americans. That's Malo Na'u He has something to say as well. Whereas the quality of life being essential to Aboriginal Americans and all life, we the people shall research, develop, and implement sustainable technologies to enhance and ensure the survival of our children and our future generations. Whereas to ensure that the United States and its subsidiaries, i.e. the municipality of the city of Pittsburgh, shall uphold our their government-to-government obligations to protect and secure the rights of Aboriginal and Indigenous people. We have the right to life, to live freely, to enjoy our liberties, and to be safe and secure. We have the right to speak and express ourselves freely, to be safe and secure, and not exposed to violence in the exercise of those rights. Whereas to ensure that federal, state, international, and local governments and corporate entities take measures to ensure these rights are not violated. And it is our duty to report, remove, and obtain justice and redress and remedy for any violations thereof. Whereas we, the people, shall implement and enable and support the success and safe survival of our children and future generations, 7 generations back. It is now the time for the Aboriginal Indigenous people to rise up and take their proper place in society, to lead and leave a legacy of greatness for our future generations, to protect our lands, our sacred spaces, and to protect our people, to ensure that our history and culture stays intact and is never forgotten. It is a great time for the city of Pittsburgh to do what they are obligated to do based on the oath that they have taken to uphold, support, protect, and defend the rights of Aboriginal Indigenous people. And I thank the city council members.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Kota Kibe.
Greetings. How's everybody today? It's Kota Kibe, the Iroquois Confederacy Aboriginal American people. And I'm going to read a few selections from the American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. Article 1 states the American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People applies to the indigenous peoples of the Americas, which includes the Aboriginal people. And that's what we're talking about here today. And self-identification as who we are as a people is a fundamental criterion for whom this declaration and the Constitution applies, and states and municipalities shall respect the right to such self-identification as who we are, whether individually or collectively, as long as it's in keeping with the practices and institutions of our nation, states, and people. Article 2 states that states and municipalities must recognize and respect multicultural, multilingual character of our people, because we are an integral part of our societies. Article 3 states that our people have the right to self-determination, and by virtue of that right, we freely determine our political status and freely pursue our economic, social, and cultural development. And a lot of times that's being stifled by policy enforcers and certain public officials acting in ultra virus outside of the scope of the Constitution and what they have been charged to do, which is a violation of genocide under 18 USC 1091, and deprivation of rights, 18 USC 241, and 242, and we must come together to stop these gross violations of these rights and to hold those accountable who should violate any of our rights at any given time. After all, everyone here is on our land at our good graces and at our expense. So we need to come to the table to work these things out so our people can stop being genocided upon by colonizers and private U.S. citizens and public U.S. citizens and everybody all together, so we can live happily in our home. And I look forward to working with city council members. And again, thank you to those who we already met with. We still have some more meetings to go, and there's a lot more to discuss. So I look forward to working with each and one of you to resolve these issues. Thank you very much. I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you very much. There being no further speakers, we'll move on to our standing committee agenda. Would the clerk please take a roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Here.
Mr. Coghill.
Here.
Ms. Gross.
Here.
Mr. Kraus.
Here.
Mr. O'Connor.
Here.
Mrs. Kell Smith. Ms. Strasburger.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Mr. Belcher.
Here.
8 members present.
Thank you. Our first committee of the day is Finance and Law, which is chaired by myself. We have a number of new bills. Madam Clerk, will you please read Bill 859, 860 together, both require an executive session?
Okay. Bill 859, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Pharrell, Reisinger, and Cumber for professional legal services in connection with the police litigation matter for an amount not to exceed $20,030.40. Bill number 860, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Ira and Mary Ann Ritter and their attorneys in the amount of $95,000 relating to the full and final settlement of a case filed in the Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas.
Motion to hold for executive session. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Both bills will be held for executive session. Bill 862.
Bill 862, resolution transferring $3,000 from City Council to the City Clerk's office.
Motion to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Bill is recommended. That takes us to Bill 863, which, can we read Bill 863, 864, and 865 together?
Yes. Bill 863, ordinance amendment, ordinance number 25 of 2020, effective July 31st, 2020, titled Ordinance Supplementing the Pittsburgh Code of Ordinances, Title II, Fiscal Article 5, Special Funds, to add a new chapter 237, Stop the Violence Fund, to prioritize the prevention of violence and crime within the communities, and to create a budgetary obligation for the fund by changing language. Bill number 864, ordinance supplementing the Pittsburgh Code of Ordinances, Title I, Administrative Article 3, Organization, Chapter 116, Department of Public Safety, by adding a new subsection 116.15, Office of Community Services and Violence Prevention. Bill number 865, ordinance supplementing the Pittsburgh Code of Ordinances, Title I, Administrative Article 3, Organization, Chapter 113, Office of the Mayor, by adding a new subsection 113.06, Office of Community Health and Safety.
Motion to approve. Second.
Any discussion?
I'd like some discussion.
Madam President?
Yeah, could we hear a little bit about it? Is there somebody here to talk about it?
I can. I'm not sure anybody from the administration's here.
Yeah, I'd rather hear from the administration. I heard from you, Reverend. Thank you, though.
All right, cool.
I appreciate it.
We can just, I don't know if anybody's here. We can ask for someone to come on.
Okay, well, we can continue, and then if I have questions, I can get them answered.
Okay.
I'll stay this week and wait till next week.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? One abstention,
I'll abstain as well.
2 abstentions. Bill is recommended with an abstention from Councilwoman Gross and Councilwoman Smith. That takes us to Bill 866.
Bill 866, ordinance amending and supplementing the city code at Title II, Fiscal Article 1, Administration, Chapter 219, Operating Budget, Section 21902, 5-year plan in order to temporarily decrease the minimum fund balance requirements in response to the fiscal pressures imposed upon the city by the COVID virus.
Motion to approve, very brief discussion, please.
Second.
Mr. Chair, do we have an approximate oh, I'm sorry, I see it in the materials. No, wait, I'm sorry.
So
We're required to keep 10%. What is the
So-
reduction? I'm sorry, go ahead.
sure, per our legislation, we're required to keep 10% in our fund balance, which for those watching is essentially our rainy day fund. And as we know, given this pandemic, it's raining outside. And so in order to balance this year's budget with avoiding the layoffs, we're going to need to dip into our fund balance. What this legislation will do is lower the rate, and then over the course of the next 5 years, increase it back up to 10%. However, we actually don't need to vote this at this exact moment. My recommendation is we vote this once we actually have the budget finished, so that we know exactly at what percentage we're dipping down to. And so if you are willing to, I would recommend holding this for 5 weeks. That way we can vote this when we actually vote the final budget, and we know exactly what that percentage is.
I'm with you. Perfect. That's very wise. Thank you. I'll withdraw my motion and put forward a motion to hold 5 weeks.
Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any
Thanks,
opposed?
Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Bill will be held 5 weeks. That takes us to P cards. We have P cards for approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Our P cards are approved. That takes us to our Public Works Committee, chaired by Councilman Coghill. First new paper is Bill 854.
Bill 854, resolution amending resolution number 192 of 2020, authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Public Works to enter on behalf of the city into an amendment to the second amended full requirements service agreement with Direct Energy Business LLC for the continued supply of electricity to the city's buildings and facilities in connection with the city's aggregated purchase of electricity with other members of the Western Pennsylvania Energy Consortium.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Bill is recommended. Bill 855.
Bill 855, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Public Works to enter on behalf of the city into an amendment to the purchasing agreement with Snyder Brothers, Inc. for the continued supply of natural gas to the city's buildings and facilities, and extending the term of current purchasing agreement for 2 years until December 2024. The city plans to soon develop a competitive solicitation for procurement of natural gas purchases in 2025 and beyond.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Bill is recommended. Bill 856.
Bill 856, resolution vacating a portion of Bench Way laid out in the eastern edition of New Homestead Plan of Lots, Plan Book Volume 20, pages 12 and 13 in the 31st Ward, 5th Council District.
Motion to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Bill is recommended.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
Could you please read 857 and 858 together?
Yes, sir.
Bill 857, resolution granting unto 1700 Partners LLC, their successors and assigns the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense to install a new projecting sign at 1607 East Carson Street in the 17th Ward, 3rd Council District. Bill number 858, resolution granting unto Jonathan Bresser, their successors and assigns the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense to install a new projecting sign at 2777 East Carson Street in the 16th Ward, 3rd Council District.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Both bills are recommended. That takes us to our Land Use and Economic Development Committee, chaired by Councilman Wilson. One new paper, Bill 861.
Bill 861, resolution providing for the issuance of a warrant in favor of Michael Baker International, Inc. in the amount of $14,469 for rendering a noise monitoring training and report preparation in response to a complaint filed under 9/1702 zoning ordinance and providing for the payment of the cost thereof.
Motion to approve, brief discussion.
Second.
Discussion, Councilman?
Yes. Is Director Kinter on the line? No. I'm looking at the squares. I don't see anyone. So I just had a question about, whether this means that once the training is complete, then PLI would be in charge of all noise complaints. So I'll follow up with her. So thank you.
And Madam Clerk, can you make sure you send a message, reminder that people, when they're on the agenda, they should be here for the meetings?
We can hold it if you'd like, Councilman Wilson, and give her a call.
It's okay. Oh, you mean for this meeting?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Councilwoman Gross?
Since we're on this bill, I just want to actually acknowledge PLI and give them a thank you for resolving a multi-year noise complaint in my district. I think they have a new sound monitor, and it was wonderful to finally get some closure and resolution, and be able to, have the noise problem be taken care of, because it was able to be just decided upon, and we just had been failing to kind of make a decision on a conflict between neighbors. So I just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilman Coghill.
Yes, just briefly. This is probably directed at you, Councilman Wilson. Noise monitoring, is that actually like a deflective shield of some sort? Because I do have a property in my district they're trying to, mitigate the noise. Is that like a physical barrier, or is that just?
Well, so that's why I wanted to get the director on the line so we can understand what this means. But sorry, there's some feedback. But I don't know. As far as I know, it means, I'm waiting for, the possibility of her getting online, but as far as I know, this means that they would be trained in going out with some sort of noise monitor and verifying. I think previously there wasn't anyone that wanted to take responsibility for this.
I have a similar situation in my district, and it's a car wash, and there's a machine there. It just makes noise and reverberates up into the neighborhood. So I'm just curious as to, is that a actual physical something that they're putting up, or so we don't know, I guess.
No, I think these are inspectors that will be trained to go out and do this.
That's the noise, huh? Okay. All right, I'm good.
Thank you. Any further discussion for first round? Seeing none, second round, Councilwoman?
Just briefly, because I've had so many of these issues in my district. There have been, so once either because there was a citation with a monitor, or in some cases there was never a citation. The two parties just acknowledged the noise and we didn't have to intervene. But then the second step was to get sound engineers, and it was really not much of an investment. I've paid for it or helped pay for some of the costs out of my professional services reimbursements over the years. And it's amazing what they can do to pinpoint the problem. In some cases, it was just the way, like you said, something was reverberating, and it was really just recalibrating a machine so that it wasn't continuously running. Solve the problem. And then in other cases, it was kind of like buffering that was needed around some like big commercial HVAC equipment. But sometimes it's really just the simplest change, and the noise just goes away. So it really, our inspectors would just be kind of recording that there is a noise exceedance. But then there are professionals out there for not a lot of money, in my experience, really good results, can identify how to fix the problem.
Thank you. Explains a lot. That's good.
Thank you. I believe we're still waiting to try to get the director on the line. Is that correct?
Yes, we've reached out and we're expecting her to join us shortly. I think is Director Ricks is on. I'm not sure if that's her area or not.
So we can just come back, right?
Yeah, we can come back.
Yeah, we can come back to it. We'll leave it open. So that'll take us to our Governmental Affairs Committee chaired by Councilwoman Gross. Excuse me. Our first bill is 634.
Bill 634, resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewer facilities plan for proposed land development located at 316 South Highland Avenue.
Motion to approve a discussion.
Second.
I'll defer to the councilwoman. Is this in actually, I'm not sure if it's District 8 or District 9 when it goes into South Highland.
It's District 8. Thank you, Councilwoman. I would ask that we hold for 4 weeks.
Motion to hold 4 weeks.
Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill will be held 4 weeks. Bill 767.
Bill 767, resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewer facilities plan for the 5803 Center Avenue residential retail development.
Motion to approve with discussion.
Second.
So I'm just checking my notes here from my staff who've again researched these, and we have started the conversations. Thank you to Councilman Wilson with planning and other people in the development pipeline to try to figure out why council was getting these kind of randomly. But this one does not have its permits approved, so I'm going to motion to hold 4 weeks.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Bill will be held. Bill 793.
Bill 793, resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewer facilities plan for the 3173, 3719, 3721 Butler Street.
Motion to hold 2 weeks. This one is curious because it had permits that have been canceled. So we're going to try to reach the developer and figure out what's going on.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill will be held. Bill 794.
Bill 794, resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewer facilities plan for the 2751st Street renovations project.
I'm going to hold this one also for 2 weeks. Motion to hold 2 weeks. It has, we can't find it in the permitting system at all.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill will be held. That takes us back to Bill 861.
Motion to approve. I'll follow up with an email briefing on that. Just so we all, all council members know what the path is moving forward with noise complaints.
Okay. There's a second on the motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Bill is recommended. That does exhaust our agenda for today. We do have a number of meeting announcements. First, a Cablecast public hearing is scheduled this afternoon, Tuesday, November 10th at 1:30 p.m. on Bill 774, 775, and 776 as they relate to historic designations of the Gallagher Kiefer House, the Heron Hill Pumping Station, and St. John Vienna Church. To register for this hearing, please contact the clerk's office at 412-255-2138 by 11:30 a.m. November 10th. You may also submit comments for these meetings by emailing City Clerk's Office at pittsburghpa.gov. Please note that written comments will not be read during the meeting. Also, due to Veterans Day holiday, there will be no council meetings scheduled for tomorrow, Wednesday, November 11th. Also, Thursday, November 12th at 9:30 a.m., a Cablecast post-agenda discussion is scheduled on the Mayor's Public Task Force. And then lastly, next Tuesday, November 12th at 12 noon, there will be an overview and policy discussion for the 2021 City Council budget. Again, budget hearings will begin next Wednesday, the 18th at 1:30 p.m. All budget hearings will be held virtually and will be live streamed on the city's YouTube channel. And I just want to remind members to check the schedule for the hearings that you are scheduled to chair. Is there any further discussion from members?
Mr. Chair,
Councilman Burgess.
I have had now a few days to reflect on the election. And I realized that in 2016, with the election of Donald Trump, it was evident by that election that there was a great number of people in this country who did not believe that racial equity, racial discrimination was a determinative factor in this country. To elect a man who is so blatantly a racist, a sexist, and who picked a misogynistic, and who picked a vice president who's homophobic, clearly meant that it was a tangible symbol that for me, Black people in general, and I did not count. And so I think it put me in and without even realizing it, it put me in a rage. I woke up every day angry and raged because of this. His presence was just a symbol of my degradation and of my alienation, and how all the things that I believe in terms of this country was smashed by his presence. And so during this election season, I'm not sure I really understood it until quite recently after the election, where we were able to elect a good man, a man who believes in the ideals of this country. I am proud that African Americans played a pivotal part in his election. I'm also proud that on the, sometimes you do things and you really don't know they're going to have any effect. That, Councilman Lavelle and I wrote Biden a letter asking him to come, and then the day before the election, he actually took me up on the offer. He came to Homewood. I was allowed to speak before him and be part of that, and that they actually honored our request to say that Black people in Pittsburgh matter to his administration. It was one of the most surreal experiences of my life, but it was a clear sign that Black people mattered, and in particular, Black Pittsburgh mattered, and in my case, Black Homewood mattered. And so I think that with this election now, we have a chance to turn the page, knowing that there's still some problems. So many of our country voted for him. It shows that there's still a great divide in race relations. There are still great divide in what is defined as in the best interest. But at the end of the day, this is my country. I love it. I love its ideals. I actually love this council and its ideals and this city. And we have to look beyond, although there will be darkness. There's always darkness because man is inherently, unfortunately, my Bible teaches me, man is unfortunately has sin problem. And so man's going to make mistakes. But I think with the election of Mr. Trump, I think we can all on the city, county, state, and federal level begin to look at what can we do in our little way to heal our country, to bring us together, to go forth to the ideas of the land of the free and the home of the brave. That will be my intention and my efforts. And I'm grateful because I did not realize that rage was there until I broke into tears on Saturday after he was announced. And I cried uncontrollably for a moment because I realized that I now counted again. And thank you for this moment to sort of share my thoughts, but I just thought perhaps someone watching, it may have related to where they were at in their experience.
Thank you. Councilman Wilson.
Chairman, we have Director Kinzer on the line now. I think we can just, if we can get a briefing now, that'd be great.
Okay.
Hi, Director. Thanks for joining. Just wanted to, have the opportunity to have you come before council and just say what this means for the future of noise complaints.
Sure. Good morning. I apologize for my delay. So PLI is the enforcement body responsible for enforcing zoning requirements under the Pittsburgh City Code. And one of those zoning requirements is the noise ordinance, which doesn't have to do with nuisance noise, but does have to do with noise that's regulated under the building. So this could be like HVAC units are the common culprit. And what we found is that there is a high level of expertise to really enforce this appropriately under the code. So we partnered with an agency, Michael Baker, which is that's before you today, to not only take sound measurements, but also learn how to do this moving forward so that we can enforce the noise ordinance appropriately. So what does it take to enforce a noise ordinance? We need sound meters that take decibel readings out in the field. You take readings and have to understand how to calibrate that device. Once the readings are taken in, they then have to go to an agency to then look at those readings and understand them. And provide that report to PLI. So that level of expertise, as it turns out, is not something that can happen internal to PLI. It's actually a sound engineer who has to do that work. So a lot of lessons learned in this example. So what we're doing internally is we're formulating our internal policy to deal with noise ordinance complaints moving forward. This bill captures the costs of, again, a specific example that was used in the field with our supervisors and our inspectors to create this policy, understand how to do this moving forward. And it does appear that PLI will have to engage in a contract. So that's something that we're working on for a sound engineer to deal with readings, PLI readings in the future, so that these can stand up in court where we find that the decibel readings are over the levels prescribed in code.
Mm. So this would be a situation where if there was a noise complaint, an inspector would go out, record it, and then send it to Michael Baker to do the analysis?
Whoever wins the bid, yes, yeah, whoever, that exactly. That whoever's on contract would do the analysis, provide us with a report, and then based on that report, we would work with our zoning sister agency to issue the citation or the notice of violation to abate the violation.
Okay. Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Other members may have questions, but I just thank you for coming on at the end here. What Councilman Burgess was talking about was very powerful and important, and I believe that was a noise complaint that is being taken care of as well. So, but other members may have discussion. Thanks.
Councilman Cargill?
Yes. Good morning, Director Kinter, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. Most of my questions were answered. Councilwoman Gross had some knowledge on it. And, I'm glad this came up today because this is an issue in one of my neighborhoods. However, I think it's a little more challenging because this is right on McNeely Road. And the actual noise is coming from a car wash. It's actually the dryer. It's open 24 hours a day. It's really not a problem in the daytime, but at night, you know how it echoes and just travels. All of kind of East Brookline is getting hit with this sound. I got multiple complaints. I really didn't even realize there was something in place like we're talking about today. So I'm really, really happy to hear that. However, I think, and I hope it doesn't make it more challenging, this car wash actually lies in Baldwin Township. So what kind of challenge does that present?
That presents a jurisdictional challenge. So PLI does not have jurisdiction over stuff that's outside of the city of Pittsburgh. So that's going to be a pretty big challenge. I can certainly make some connections with the mayor's office, and maybe there's a community outreach folks that can assist us on that front.
So maybe my best route is to try to deal with Baldwin Township.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I figured. Okay, thanks. Oh, wait, one other question. And Councilwoman Gross referred to this. If we do find a remedy there are kind of buffer shields or something out there that we can put up as to detract the noise. Do you know of anything about that?
Yeah, so that's a good point from Councilwoman Gross. There are ways that you can buffer the sounds, especially if it's a mechanical unit, and there's ways to do that. It would likely need a permit to make sure that it was fire rated, etc. But essentially these structures can go up around the unit, which would dampen the sound.
And Director Kinter, just as we were on the phone, my chief of staff texted me. This actually does lie in the city. It's right on the line. So it does lie in the city. So all I really have to do is get the information to you, and we will send a sound expert out there. Is that right?
So there's a few missing pieces right now. PLI moved forward on this particular complaint. Again, it's sort of like a learning experiment, but we do have to move on our contract if we're going to do this moving forward. Otherwise, I have to do a warrant in front of you guys. For sound engineering. And as you can see, it's pretty pricey. So we need to get this contract in place. And I hope to get some legislation in front of council very quickly within this month. And then we can go out, do our readings, provide it to the engineer so that they can give us a report. So apologies, a little bit of a longer timeline, but I guess in the short term, yes, please feel free to send me that information.
Okay, good. And then once we do get the funding or things in place, then we'll look at getting somebody out there to determine, I guess, is it noise pollution? And from that point, if it is, how to address it.
Right. Does it exceed what the code allows? Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Smith?
I'd just like to ask a question. I think this is the legislation that Councilman Kraus, when he was President Kraus, put together a task force we worked on back when Patrick Dowd was in office. And we're just now starting to enforce it, is what I'm trying to understand.
So there was an update. I'm hopefully not misspeaking. I want to say it's 917 or 914 of the Pittsburgh City Code that I think was recently updated maybe 2 years ago. Yeah. I think it's a little bit more recent than that, but I will say that our enforcement has not been even on this, and I'm looking forward to having a real policy for us to do this consistently moving forward.
I think at the time it was the police that we thought they were going to be the enforcement agency. So I'm just wondering how it ended up with, I don't need to talk about it now, but I'm just curious how it ended up with PL&I and how it's just now being implemented.
That's actually a really good point. So there is nuisance noise, which has to do with parties and bars and people being loud outside.
That's on the task force. I know all the stuff about it. I just don't know how it ended up from going from police to PL&I, because the whole time we were discussing it, even though we knew it was about HVAC systems and all those other things, it was still going to police, and they didn't have the tools to enforce it.
Yeah.
And so that's
I will say that that type of nuisance noise is still handled by the police, and PLI is really just handling those connected to building systems.
I hear you. I just didn't know that happened, because it wasn't the case initially.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Gross.
Yes, I just want to repeat my thank you, since we have the director here in front of us, to say that the long running case in my district, which was a big commercial facility right up against really highly densely populated residential area, who they just were in conflict for several years. I wanted to say it worked out beautifully that PLI was able to do the enforcement, so that we had clarity that there was actual noise, and that it was an exceedance, because the big commercial actor was not acting in good faith for years and just denying that there was noise, even though you could hear it. And we're fighting with their neighbors, who are our city, residents. So that is moving forward in a much more positive direction. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you, Director Kinster, for joining us. Any further discussion from members on anything? Seeing none, we need a motion to excuse the absent member, approve the minutes, and adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 You are adjourned. Thank you.